Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
It's really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
It is episode 95, Weather Weekly. Good to be with you. Hey, welcome to the month of November. Moving along. Hopefully you had a fantastic Halloween and a good end to the month of October here. Did get a little bit of rain. We needed it. Not a ton for the early portions of the week. And you know what? Wasn't bad for the weekend here. Temperatures have been pretty nice. We had that real quick cold snap, brought us some snow briefly and some chilly temperatures, some freezing overnights. But overall, it's been pretty nice the last few days. And I think we've got a real nice start to the month of November, too. We'll talk about that in the extended forecast coming up in just a few minutes. But as we always do, the first podcast of the month, we kind of take a look back at the month that was. So we'll take a look at where we kind of finished for the month of October. Some interesting things definitely happened during the month. And we'll look ahead to the month of November, look at that forecast, and some historical events that have happened in central Indiana during the month of November. And it's always kind of an interesting month. It's certainly not like a traditional severe weather month that you would think in March and April and May when we're transitioning from winter to spring and then eventually summer. But you can get some pretty nasty storms. You can also get some winter weather as well during the month of November. So we'll look ahead to this November of 2022. That's coming up in episode 95 of Weather Weekly.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke or maybe a steamy billionaire? You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest Romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
It is episode 95 of Weather Weekly. Good to be with you here, and welcome to the month of November. As we typically do, the beginning of the month, we always like to look back on the weather that was for the previous month. That would be October. And look ahead to not only the forecast for the month of November, what we can expect on average, but I like to look back at some historical events that have happened in the month of November. And we've got some very unique ones coming up here. Real quick, October wasn't an extraordinarily rare month. It did run dry for a lot of the month until as of late. We did get a little bit of rain. In terms of precipitation, it does rank as the 35th driest on record, 1.42 inches of rainfall. It's the driest since, looking on the fly, 2010. So it's been a good 12 years since we've been this dry. And that month, it was 1.32 inches. So we were just a little bit above that. And again, you got to keep in mind, really, a majority of the precip that we did pick up for the month all came in one day. It was a couple of weeks ago, that Monday, Tuesday event where we had about, 106 for rain here in Indy. So yeah, that was a big one. And the most rain I think that we had in about 2 months. So that helped alleviate some of the stress, still running pretty dry. As the last drought monitor was released last Thursday, a lot of the state now in a moderate drought. We'll see if a little bit of that has changed because of some of that rain that we picked up, but we're still running pretty dry. We could use a little bit of precip. In terms of temperatures, it wasn't anything really special, kind of middle of the road. The average, let me look real quick. The average temperature, 54.5, and that ranks kind of right in the middle there. 54.5, it puts you at 95th warmest on record. So not too unusual there. We were very much in the middle of the pack in terms of temperature there. So it wasn't an extraordinary October. We kind of went back and forth. We did have a mild finish, certainly, to the month. We had some chilly spots, too, to just kind of equal everything out there. Okay, looking ahead to the month of November, we begin the month with an average high of 58, an average low of around 40. By the end of the month, we average a high in the upper 40s, right around 48, and our average low typically around 30 degrees. So it's a pretty big swing with the temperatures this month. We average at 3.45 inches of precip. It's actually a little bit wetter than both September and October, and actually August as well. So it's it's the wettest of the fall months. And the wettest month that we will have on average until March swings back around. We do also average snow just shy of an inch, 0.8 inches, the 30-year average for snowfall here in Indianapolis. Just some interesting records here. The coldest year for the month of November was 1880. The average temperature that year was 31.1. The driest was 1904, just picked up about 1/10 of an inch of precip. Had several years where we didn't pick up any snowfall at all, but not many. I think that's important. 99, 98, 94, 90, and 46 all were at 0. After that, we at least picked up a trace of snow. So I think it's important that there is only, on record, 5 years where we didn't pick up any measurable snow at the airport during the month of November. Warmest month of November, 1931, the average temperature was 51.7. The wettest, 1881, with 9.35 inches of rainfall. And the most snow, 1932, 9.8 inches of snowfall. In the top 10 in recent times, go back to 97, we picked up 5.8 inches of snowfall that year. All right, as we usually do, we'll look at some historical numbers here for you. Let's see. We'll start with 1984 on the first. Severe thunderstorm winds knocked down trees in Tippecanoe and Carroll counties. Interesting here because we're not to this extent, but we're kind of close. 2010, 95% of Indiana was experiencing moderate to extreme drought conditions as of November 2nd. And I believe, if I look back, I feel like I just mentioned 2010. So 2010 in November, and, sometimes you're comparing apples to oranges, but I always like to tie things together a little bit. 2010, we only picked up a trace of snow that year in terms of snowfall that November. So we entered coming into a moderate drought. I will say that we did not make the top 10 for driest precip that year. So it looks like we alleviated some of it a little bit, but didn't get a whole lot of snow, just a trace during that year there. All right, back to the list here. 1966 on the 3rd in Indianapolis, the record snow depth for the date is 8 inches. The next day, no, this is a different year, 4th, 1886 in Indianapolis, record snowfall for the date is 4.4 inches. On the 5th in 1991 in Indy, the record low temperature for the date is set at 15 degrees. In 2005, a large and damaging squall line on the 6th moves through central Indiana in the early morning hours. Widespread wind damage occurs, including several reports of downed trees and power lines. In 1996 on the 7th, in Indy, the record precipitation amount for the date is 3.51 inches of rainfall. That's a lot in one day, especially in the fall. In 1999 on the 8th, the record high temperature for the date is set at 76 degrees. On the 9th in 1921, in Indy, the record snowfall for the date is set at 3.8 inches. In 1975 on the 10th, at Terre Haute, a tornado breaks plate glass windows of several stores and damages several mobile homes. In 1998 on the 10th, a line of severe thunderstorms causes tree damage across much of central Indiana, bringing winds of 50 to 70 miles per hour. In 1911 on the 11th, at Bedford, a tornado hits the north side of town at 11 p.m. on 11/11/11. The worst damage is concentrated at the Bedford Foundry and Machine Company. We might have to do a special podcast for that maybe next week. That one's an interesting one there. I'm sure we can find some stuff at the archives too. In 2019, this wasn't long ago, on the 11th at Indy, 2.8 inches of snow fell, setting a record for the date. On the 12th, 2003, strong non-thunderstorm winds caused damage in Marion and Howard counties. Wind gusts of over 60 mile per hour recorded in Kokomo. In 2019, on the 12th, very cold air moves into central Indiana. Indy sets a new record low temperature of 8 degrees and a new record low maximum temperature of 21 degrees. Let's see. Moving on. 1997, on the 13th, winter storm brings 4 to 6 inches of snowfall in a 50-mile wide swath centered on I-70 between Terre Haute and Indianapolis on the 13th and the 14th. On the 14th in 1993, overnight flash flooding occurs in the central and south with up to 9 inches of rainfall measured. That might be another good podcast to look back on. On the 15th, 2005, at Washington, an F3 tornado travels on the ground for 12 miles and up to a quarter of a mile wide at times. In 1987, on the 16th, strong non-thunderstorm winds of 60 to 65 miles per hour downed some trees and caused power outages to parts of central Indiana. On the 17th, 1993, around 2 inches of rain on November 16th and 17th allows the flash flooding of November 14th, 1993 to turn into widespread major flooding across central and southern Indiana during the third week of November. The 17th, we've done a podcast on this one last year, I believe. 2013, the largest November tornado outbreak in state history, produces 30 tornadoes, 16 of which are in central Indiana. Of course, I talked about my experience in Illinois with the Washington tornado on that same date. On the 18th, 1880 at Indianapolis, the record low temperature for the date is 5 degrees. Also in 1880, the next day, on the 19th in Indianapolis, the low temperature drops to 3 below. This marks the earliest winter date in city records for the temperature to drop sub-zero. On the 20th, 1983, winds up to 65 miles per hour cause extensive damage to the Tippecanoe Mall in Lafayette. In 1883, the 21st in Indianapolis, the record precipitation amount for the date set at 3.71 inches. On the 22nd, 1992, one of the largest November tornado outbreaks in state history, produces 15 tornadoes, including one which is on the ground for 12 miles. In 2001, the 24th, in Shelbyville, an F1 tornado causes $1 million in damage. 24th, 1950, sub-zero temperatures are recorded over much of the state. In 2001, the 24th, at Shelbyville, and I think I already mentioned that one. Sorry, I'm going backwards now. On the 26th, I should say, 1965, multiple tornadoes damage or destroy buildings, trailers, and some airplanes. On the 27th of 1994, severe thunderstorms uproot several trees and cause serious damage to several homes in Vigo County. 1958, on the 28th, Indy, the record snowfall for the date is 4.6 inches of snowfall. 1991, on the 30th, in Danville, early morning thunderstorms brought a reported wind gust of 100 miles per hour. So you can see a little bit of everything, and there's some things there that I think we're going to bring up in some future podcasts. Very interested in some of the flooding aspects, and also the Bedford one I think was interesting. Bedford tornado, 1911. That was on 11/11/11. So we might hit that up for a future podcast. If anything piques your interest that you want to know more about, shoot me an email as well. I'd love to hear about it, and maybe we'll see what we can do for you here. We're going to look ahead to our forecast here, see if we get any of that nasty stuff, severe weather or snow or cold or ice. I think it's going to be pretty quiet. I think you're going to like the forecast here over the extended. I'll have that for you next here on Weather Weekly. Here's a look at the forecast for your first week of November, and looking pretty good for the month. You got to keep in mind, average high, we mentioned this, at the beginning of the month into the upper 50s, and I think we're going to be not just a little, but a lot warmer than that here for the rest of this week. 70s, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think we'll probably carry that over into Saturday as well. Now, most of those days are dry. We don't really see a decent rain chance coming in until Saturday afternoon. Saturday evening, we'll have some scattered showers arriving. It may cool us down a bit, but not bad. Don't forget, we do fall back 1 hour. The end of daylight saving time coming early Sunday morning. Sunday, I've got upper 60s and sunshine. There's an outside shot for a shower. I didn't see a lot of model agreement. I know it's still a ways away on Monday. And that is at least the coolest day I have in the extended over the next 8 days. And it's still in the mid 60s, so it's still above average. And then there was some hints that we probably see those numbers bump back up into the upper 60s and low 70s by the middle of next week. So the 8 to 14 day outlook, some pretty strong signals again of above average temperatures. Precipitation looks to be below average the 1 month outlook. So that would be for this month, November. This was updated yesterday. Well, I'm recording this on November 1st. So it was updated on Halloween. Very strong signal for much of the month to be above average with temperatures and below average with precipitation. So we could be looking at a mild end of the fall season here in much of the Midwest, including here in central Indiana. And again, maybe on the dry end. So it's been a while since we've had some decent snows in the month of November. Certainly it can happen, as I've pointed out historically. But it just seems in recent memory, it's not been so much prevalent. It seems like the warmer season is hanging on a little bit longer. And it's interesting because we've talked about that with Mike Ryan in previous podcasts talking about winter weather forecasts, that it seems like winter starts later but hangs on a little bit longer, maybe deeper into March. As of late. So we'll see if that kind of rings true this year, but it looks like if this forecast hold, it may be kind of a slow start to the winter season. I know many of you probably won't mind, as it's not a bad thing to have a milder Thanksgiving, and I know a lot of people like to decorate outdoors. You don't want to do that when it's snowing and frigid and all that fun stuff outside. So you may get your wish, all right? So looking forward to that. Good to be in a new month of November. A lot of things to be thankful for this month. I'm thankful for you to check out this podcast. As always, if you have any suggestions, you have any questions you want us to address weather-wise, you got any interviews you'd like for us to jump on with, I love to hear your suggestions. You can email me anytime, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. I'm also on social media. On Facebook, it's Marcus Bailey Weather, and on Twitter and Instagram, it is at Marcus Bailey. So shoot me an email. Don't be shy. I would love to hear your suggestions or any ideas that you may have for the podcast. We have a lot of fun doing this here. While you're here, make sure to check out all the other great podcasts, all part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a great and safe week. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.